Start. All right. Welcome to the Doomer Bloomer podcast.
Welcome. My name is John Wynn, and this is
Bilite.
Yes.
How you been, John?
I've been doing quite well, celebrating my girlfriend's birthday, enjoying the shitty weather up here in Edmonton. Good time.
It's been nonstop rain for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, at least. It's been all in all pretty crappy summer, but I've got so many things to do that I don't even really notice that much. So
yeah, no,
I find ways to fill our time.
Yeah, me too. All right, today on the podcast, we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about the downside of internet dating. So, sexual market value inflation in women through social media, Tinder, Bumble, various different dating apps that we've seen and have used in the past. Right, John?
Yes.
I want to talk about the definition of what a soy boy is and why we hate them. And I'm going to call out another podcast that we saw not too long ago. And I want to see if we can start a turf war. Right. I would like to mention universal basic income and the rise of the robots and automation in our future, which John knows lots about because he's in transportation.
Yeah.
And we might talk about Bob Lazar. There's a Netflix documentary about him in Area 51. And is Google censoring some free speech and influencing people's thoughts and opinions on Donald Trump and election cycles?
Yeah, and side note, I didn't watch, I didn't delve into it, but I saw a few headlines about Facebook kind of like admitting that they want to do that too. But I can't really go into detail because I saw that like last night and I was busy, so I didn't go research it, if you will.
Fair enough. Because we're all about accuracy on this podcast.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
No, all about free speech.
All about the facts.
All about the facts. All about the facts.
All about the, yeah.
All right, John.
Beware, Soyboys.
Beware, Soyboys. We'll take none of this white knighting that you're going on about.
We respect the woman with science and facts.
Yes.
Yeah. But we do respect the woman.
Well, we respect the woman. We respect the woman.
As long as they're respectable.
Well, as long as they're respectable. But some of these profiles I see are not respectable profiles.
On Tinder?
On Tinder, OkCupid in the past. OkCupid is really bad, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it would be like the new version of Plenty of Fish, because Plenty of Fish has been around for a while.
Yeah.
It's like the OG of dating apps or dating websites, in my opinion.
In Canada, but even in the US.
Oddly enough, it was actually invented by someone from my hometown.
Yeah.
So
I think we've talked about that before, and I've heard it a few times in different places. But I know the guy is Canadian and from BC.
Marcus.
And he sold
Frid.
Yeah. He sold it, I think, in 2011
to Match
or 2012. He sold it to Match, right?
Yeah, to Match Group. Actually, Match is horrible. I've tried to use Match before.
You have to pay for that one, absolutely, right?
Yeah, there's no freemium. You can't message without paying. It's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, no, I've never used it. And you paid, and it wasn't any better than those free websites?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Meaning yes, like it sucks.
Well, I think just internet and dating in general kind of sucks, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel
Well,
like the I don't know, the quality of people on there have generally gone down, in my opinion.
like compared to a few years back, or
Even to a few years back, like prior to 2012, like
yeah.
everyone's really hopped on the Me Too bandwagon, and all that ever happens is you start into getting into these ideological arguments with women who think they're top notch, and they're like a three.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of what I've been seeing for quite a few years. Um, you know, my teenage years were spent in the 90s and early 2000s, my early 20s and so on. And I mean, I think women always had like, how do you, sexual market value, SMV, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
SMV had
Hmm.
always had like a more SMV than guys in general, right?
Well, they're the gatekeepers,
So
really.
like say you take two equally attractive, like you take an equally attractive man and woman and you put them side by side, right? Um, like both of them are, let's say seven, right? Um, the woman is going to garner a lot more attention easier, and it'll hook up a lot easier than a guy that's in the same looks range of that woman.
That's definitely correct. And yeah,
So
yeah, the black pill confirms that one.
yeah, so like women always had like, I mean, it's obvious, like, we don't have to like go into like studies or whatever. um you know, uh, a very average girl can get laid, even a very unattractive, like three, even back in those days, could get laid a lot easier, uh, compared to even like a guy that's like, say, a 5 out of 10, even like a woman that's a 3. um
And the really shitty
like
thing is,
I've seen it. I've
mm,
seen like like a woman I would never touch, but was able to get guys easily, like couple a week. um like
via Plenty of Fish or any other of these
yeah,
apps.
like, well, dating website. This is back in QC, but the equivalent, like Badu or shit like that, right? And she was able to score 2 3 guys. But the thing is, women don't, I mean, to them, making a guy that they like stay is like their ultimate challenge. Like getting dick for them is nothing. But that's why we, like, when we compare sexual market value place, that's what gives them more value, because like to them it's like dick is worthless to them. It's like
Well,
monopoly money.
it's like monopoly money. That's right.
Yeah, unless you get like, unless they find the guy, like, and I think that's what like hypergamy is about, right? Did I say it right?
Hypergamy,
Hypergamy is
jinx.
about like wanting to get like a guy that's better looking than them, stronger than them, smarter than them, earns more than them, and all that, right? And like if they see a guy that's that they like, women really want to feel that they they can admire a man,
Well,
from my experience. But yeah, and with dating sites, what happens is like you have like these, say, average looking women that are getting hit on by guys that just want to get laid, that are a lot more attractive than they are, and now they think that they're worth more than they are. And like, there's a famous study about this that was done through OkCupid, which almost like confirms Pareto's law. I think it's like 80% of women think that 80% of men are undateable. There's only like 20% of men on OkCupid that even stand a chance, and it's like barely, type of thing. So that's
no,
completely insane, right?
can
um
confirm.
yeah.
Not only
That's
are they, yeah, they're even hard to talk to, honestly.
yeah. I mean, I've done all right. I don't have that big of a gripe with dating apps. I just think that it's funny how like women have become um, a lot more uh, have this sense of false confidence in their own attractiveness
Inflated.
because of it. But I mean, guys like us guys, we're not giving them, uh, especially as time moves on. Like so many guys are just capitulating and just like worshiping these women. I mean, just constantly feeding them. I mean, especially the women that are in the higher attractiveness range, man.
Well, I
I
call
mean, they
them
get anything. Yeah,
Instagram hoes.
yeah,
Insta hoes is what I call them.
insta hoes. Yeah,
Well, like because they have a bunch of beta orbiters, right? And you see these that constantly post these doctored selfies, right?
yeah,
And they're almost exclusively of their face. I mean,
yeah.
the really attractive ones that obviously work out and have sponsorships, they do well, but they have endless. They get their kicks by posting these photos of themselves in exotic locations, doing twerking or whatever. Like,
Oh, not even that. I mean, like once they have a bit of followers, they're like, "Oh my god, this is so crazy! I'm eating a sandwich, so crazy." Hashtag whatever. I'm
hashtag
like,
sandwich.
the fuck are you talking about? Like for them to think that like that's crazy to eat a sandwich like anybody else is like the stuff they put is inane. But since they're even like attractive ones, but I mean they're far from being like out of this world attractive or whatever. They'll always have like some orbiters around them, just like, oh, you woman, you're a great woman.
You're a great woman.
Yeah. And like if some guy will kind of point out their bullshit, they'll have like fucking 10 other guys saying, "How dare you disrespect
Do you know what?
this magnificent."
Like magnificent woman.
Yeah.
You know what
This
I see is
magnificent.
I see a lot of these insta hoes, like they go around and they're upset that they're getting a bunch of DMs from quote unquote what they call fuckboys.
Yeah.
And like, what do you expect? Yeah, I mean, you have a page dedicated just to being vapid.
Yeah.
So are you expect not to get messaged? Like,
Yeah, I mean, the only value you're putting out there is eye candy. Sorry, like no one really cares about your selfies in the restaurant or uh, hashtag love my doggy. I mean, millions of people have dogs or have cats and go to the restaurants and stuff like that. I mean, you're not. I mean, this all started with Paris Hilton and Nicole, uh, Guy Ritchie's daughter or whatever,
yeah, and the Kardashian
Nicole Richie.
phase, and yeah, Nicole Richie.
Yeah, that all started back then in like the early 2000s. I was like, I remember like talk show hosts and all that used to laugh at them all the time. They're like, what are they famous for? This is like the first time we've ever seen people being famous for nothing, you know?
Yeah, what have you actually contributed to society
Yeah,
besides
they're
liposuction ass implants?
yeah. And well, since then, I mean, like the internet has just exacerbated that type of mentality. So, in a sense, social media and dating sites have just increased or just like help proliferate that type of mentality. And it's a shame because like the internet as a whole will, I mean, you can filter out what you want to hear, and that's why like people are going crazy about when they hear something they don't like. It's almost like I mean, assault, or it causes post traumatic stress disorders and stuff like that,
Trigger
because like they got
warnings.
mean tweets. Yeah, mean tweets. I mean, it's because like you can spend your whole life surrounding yourself in the virtual world of people that agree with you, and finding people that confirm your biases. So it's like a massive confirmation bias day after day on social media, and I think women, just because naturally men were always more willing to compliment and show women affection or interest than women were, and the internet just kind of like exaggerated that uh, that natural difference that was there. I mean, like many things in life, a technology that just makes something grow exponentially will increase whatever little difference.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's made a generation of people, and I don't know, even teenagers, right? Because teenagers have Instagram and they're seeing all of this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's something that I never grew up with. I have no concept of that.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Facebook was
We're old, man.
we're, we're getting up there. Not over the
We're
hill,
old.
though.
We're old. We're old omnivores.
Um,
We ain't no soy boys.
okay. On that note, let's look at a definition, just so for clarification of a soy boy.
Oh, of soy
Yeah,
boys?
because I just found a podcast called the Soyboys podcast, and they're going to become our
Oh
arch
man.
enemies. So,
Yes. Okay.
Urban Dictionary first definition: soy boy, slang used to describe males who completely and utterly lack all necessary masculine qualities. This pathetic state is usually achieved by an overindulgence of emasculating products and or ideologies, aka soy. The origin of the term derives from the negative effects of soy consumption, which has been proven to have on the male physique and libido. The average soy boy
Mm-hmm.
is a feminist, non-athletic, has never been in a fight, will probably marry the first girl he has sex with, and likely reduces all of his arguments to labeling the opposition as Nazis.
Yes. That sounds about
Uh,
accurate. Soy has been proven to produce, I think it's phenoestrogen or whatever, but like to be fair, like I don't think like if I drank soy milk every day, I would become um, effeminate. But it's weird that effeminate men tend to just love the soy. So causation or correlation is not necessarily causation. However, that's one hell of a correlation there.
one hell of a correlation.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
actually don't know
So
what the Soy Boy podcast is about.
me either.
I just thought it was hilarious, and they were a nice foil to what we do.
Yeah.
One of these days, if you're out there, Soy Boys, feel free to hit us up.
Hit
We're
us
just
up. We'll
have a debate, and see what's going on in the world.
Yeah, exactly. We'll debate such trendy subjects like women and men are not equal in certain spheres. Don't panic. Don't panic. We're not saying that men are automatically better as a whole than women. We're just debating that in certain areas men are better and in certain areas women are better. Now, don't throw a soy fit. We'll have a rational debate about this.
Yes, a rational debate, because we're the rational monsters. Remember?
Yes, the logical monstrosities.
Podcast idea number 72.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, so Soy Boys, like to me, I don't know. I didn't listen to their podcasts as of yet. I definitely will check them out. But like this, what we define as soy boy, I don't know. I think it's like the antithesis of masculinity, be it the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, masculinity uh, uh, is not perfect, just like femininity is not perfect, but trying to destroy or going against like a whole natural trait of the human condition. I don't know. In this world filled with unnaturalness, I think like that's like the poster child of like all this unnaturalness unveiling itself in front of us.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I look back more objectively, a lot of the times I just feel sorry for the, in a sense, like, are is it really their fault that they've gotten to that point?
It's the soy.
Yeah.
Always it keeps coming back to the soy.
Yeah. Soylent Green.
Speaking of post-apocalyptic futures, what do you think about the future of automation and the potential for universal basic income?
Yeah, it's definitely a touchy subject. As you know, I'm in the transportation industry, and transportation as a whole in North America, at least, is the biggest. It's the industry that hires the most people, especially like non-college educated people, that gives them, decent salary and stuff. I got two of my friends that are truckers themselves, and once you have driverless cars, trucks, I mean, on the streets and on the highways, it's going to put a crap ton of people out of work, like in the likes like we've never seen before.
And it's not that far away, realistically.
No, 20 to 25 years where it becomes, I think, more than 50%. The technology is already fully functional at this point.
Yeah, it's
like there's already trucks right now that are driverless on the road, shipping freight.
Oh yeah,
that don't have to take breaks. A truck driver has to every 12 hours stop, and now like they have electronic logs, so you can't get around it, or if you do, it's a lot harder than before. Truckers used to, okay, I'll just do 16 hours, I can handle it, etc. Now with the electronic logs to prevent tired truckers and prevent accidents and all that, because as you know, a truck that gets into a highway accident can create a lot of serious damage for a lot of people. So imagine, you don't have to pay an employee. It's one-time investment. Probably in the beginning, it's going to be a lot more expensive to buy a self-driving truck than a regular truck. But when you factor in that this can go 24/7, so deliver way more freight faster, you don't have to pay a driver a salary. You keep all the profits. I mean, there's a lot of incentive to buy into this technology. I think the only thing that would stop it is actually, if there's so much pressure from truck drivers and the whole industry as a whole, it would have to be government intervention. That's the only thing that would stop it at this point.
Yeah. Well, regulations, the only thing that would stop it right at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So that's only one example, though. All these factory jobs that we still have left in North America, even like restaurant jobs and cashier jobs and all that.
That's what I was going to bring up. Like even Walmart, the Walmarts have, I think, almost 50% of their checkouts now, and even most grocery stores are automated self checkouts. You know,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
scanning and
exactly.
bagging your own groceries.
Well, there's even more. Like if you go to a self checkout section in a Walmart, you might have in one little section you might have like 12 stations, and at any given time, and there's only one or two people like checking to see if people are doing everything correctly or if they need help. And then you'll see all the cash registers, and most of the time there's only 3 or 4 people working the cash registers.
Yeah,
All right, so already there's more people using uh, cash checkouts, like self checkout, than cash registers.
yeah.
And I mean, like, AI can compose music, all the things, like all the creative stuff that we thought that were, computers could never replace us. Like for example, you've heard about the equivalent of chess, but a Chinese version
Go,
is called
yes.
Go. It's
Yeah,
the
I've heard
ancient,
of Go.
yeah. It's a very very intuitive game. Like you can't, like a computer cannot beat a very good Go player like it can with a chess player, just because like uh, in a chess game, a computer can use something called brute force, which is just like a whole crap ton of calculations done very very rapidly. But like Go, the even though like chess has like an incredible amount of possibilities, it's still a lot more contained compared to Go. Like Go is, like, if you talk to the best players, even themselves, they can't really explain it. It's a game of intuition. So for a long time, people thought that computers could never beat a really good Go player until AlphaGo, one of Google's AIs, hit the stage, and I think this was 2 or 3 years ago, beat the top player, and um, that like proves that even the things we consider like to be intuitive, creative, and all that, AI
Well,
can
they
do.
also play those
So
massively multiplayer online games too.
yeah, I mean, they create symphonies now. AI can just like you feed them like say 1,000 songs. They're able to detect patterns of what's pleasing to the ear or not, and just improve constantly and constantly. They can compose music now, like great symphonies. You can check out some AI created music online.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, do you think it's going to be like a Terminator future or like a?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I actually, I think it could be like a war of the AIs against themselves. A Chinese AI that's focused on economic growth compared to a US AI that's focused on hacking. I mean, I'm just throwing different types of examples here, but they're going to have like different interests, right? And if they get to a point where they're not even necessarily self-aware, but uh, they take their programming to the next level, that they have to eliminate anything in the way of their predetermined goal, be it other AIs or other countries' interests and stuff like that. That definitely can cause some haywire issues in the future.
Isn't this like the one of your book ideas?
Yeah,
I've actually
yeah,
this is actually a
it
really
is.
interesting idea because I've it's kind of original, right? It's most futuristic versions of this go like humans versus AI, like a Matrix apocalypse or Terminator.
Yeah,
I think having that's a more unique take on it.
yeah, and I a lot of these things that happen are always it's always like a curveball. It's like reality is like, oh, you thought this was going to happen. And it's like reality pulls out a magic trick. It's like, no, it's worse, but this is actually what's going to happen. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, who knows? Like a Terminator or Matrix style thing could happen. Who knows?
Yeah, it's possible, but I don't think I don't think it's that
But
likely.
I think there's too many different AIs and too many uh, different countries working on different AIs for one AI to um, suddenly take over mankind.
Oh yeah,
You
I
know?
don't think it'll be the sentient sort of AI that people are thinking. It'll be more of a they'll be more specialized in different areas.
Yeah. So do you think AI will become or might become sentient
You're
one day
saying
though?
like once it reaches a certain point of like a singularity, and then it starts exponentially increasing its knowledge.
Yeah, improving itself. Like it becomes self aware, too close to human to a human point or at human point, and then from that point on it just continues doing what it does best, self improving, and then just becomes like a godlike consciousness.
um, Unlikely, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. I think I think it's possible. I think it's very possible it can become self-aware. I don't know what type of manifestation it will have, but uh, I think it's possible. I just don't know when it comes to that. I mean, there's so all I see is a whole bunch of potentialities of different outcomes in the future, good and bad. Um, I really don't have any ideas, but I think it's
It'll be the
possible.
soy AI.
Oh man,
SOY.
we're doomed. Oh
uh,
man, kill me now,
Kill you
kill
now,
me
eh?
now.
Drown you in soy milk.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it doesn't matter at this point what type of AI or what type of outcome. I think basic universal income is something we're gonna
Well,
have to
I do.
consider.
I mean, if you start eliminating, like you said, truck drivers, cashiers, waitresses, restaurant jobs, like service industry, like low skill, low pay, you're going to have to
Yeah.
create some sort of tax incentive for these businesses to give back to the system, so that we don't
Yeah.
have chronic homelessness, and think like if people can't pay for their basic necessities, food, shelter, water, clothing, you know there's
Yep.
either going to be revolt, or you're going to have a very uneducated and unchanging society. Like they won't be able to adapt, right? So you need to give them the tools to in order to continue at the pace of change.
Yeah, exactly. If everyone all of a sudden, like swarms of people are not even become homeless or whatnot, or barely able to find shelter, and just basically, even if it's not homeless, but you have like you live in squalor in a small room or apartment, and you can only buy like shitty food and all that. Your brain's not optimized, you're stressed, you're doing very bad. How can you expect society as a whole to create progress? And not only that, if no one, if a whole host of people don't have any spending money, all these big businesses that rely on everyone to buy their product are going to go under also.
It's
You know what I mean? If there's if no one can buy houses or buy clothes or buy food or anything, like these big businesses and corporations are not going to be making any money either.
Exactly.
So it's a very big domino effect. I was listening to this guy, I can't remember his name, but because there's valid arguments. Like if you're a high school kid and you're like, wow, fuck, why would I finish high school when you're 16, 17 and you're somewhat lazy, your life kind of sucks, and you don't really have any motivation to do anything. It's very easy to say, whatever, I'll still have enough money to buy my PlayStation, buy some Doritos, and just stay at home all day and smoke weed or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. What would motivate that person to do more? I mean, it's a valid point. Maybe create incentives. Even create incentives like to educate people on certain things, even things that are not necessarily needed at the time, but at least if you have an educated, cultured society, there'll be breakthroughs that will require human thought.
I think there should be more emphasis on tech skills and even computer coding and that whole segment, like science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
Exactly. Mofos need to learn to code.
Yeah.
That's I think Twitter banned that hashtag learn to code. I think it was in some leftists were crying about how Trump was resurrecting like the old industries, like coal mining and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, it's bad. And a lot of people, so the debate on Twitter was like, well, what should they do? Well, maybe they should learn to code.
Is this?
So it became like a snarky.
Is this part of the Antifa or just
just leftists in general? No, more like
lefty twitties. I don't even go on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, me neither. I have a Twitter with like crypto related stuff, and that's about it.
Maybe we should get a Doomer Bloomer Twitter.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Maybe we should. Channel goals.
We will eventually. Yes.
The rational monster.
Big goals, man.
That rational
Create
monster.
Create a Twitter. Yes.
Free
speech nebula.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, speaking of irrational lefties, you got Antifa. They're these are like soy boys that try to be hard, like Joe Rogan talks about.
Let's
them.
Get
like,
hard.
Look at them
on soy.
Time to show these fascists how hard we are. This is
your brain on soy.
It's like, yeah, yes.
Oh shit.
The dark side of soy, Antifa. We should start dark a documentary on that.
Antifa.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone thinks soy is a gentle thing, but this is the dark side of soy. Yeah, so these anti-racist and anti-sexist and anti-homophobic, anti-whatever ist there is, Antifas, beat up a skinny gay Chinese dude or Asian dude because they didn't agree with Antifa. It just shows how tolerant they are and how they fall in line with their own ideology.
Yeah, the dark side of soy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, these man, I wish like, a pack of Hell's Angels, just like in the 60s.
A pack of Hell's Angels.
I remember one time yeah, a pack of Hell's Angels would did like they used to do in the 60s when like the lefty hippies and like used to like get out of line and all that. Like I read a story about how at one point like the Hell's Angels showed up and the hippies thought that they were there to help them and they were there to protest with the hippies, but the Hell's Angels just started
Cracking
beating the
skulls,
shit
eh?
out of them. Yeah, I man, like, and plus, I'm kind of sympathetic to the hippie movement, probably because I saw it from a '90s kid perspective. So it was like a more idealistic version. I wasn't there, right, and I didn't have all the facts when I was growing up in the '90s. I just saw, hey, weed smoking, uh, psychedelic users, peace and love, rock and roll, free love, and all that. So maybe like but their politics were liberal. But I consider myself liberal. Liberal. I still consider myself center liberal. Um, but these Antifas, I think, would need a good dose of
Biker
biker
love.
biker love.
Just let Genghis Khan.
Yeah, just like yeah, exactly.
Biker justice.
I did see a video, but it was like bikers for Trump. I mean, it didn't sound serious. Like, a chapter of the Hell's Angels debarked in Portland, Oregon, and just like cracked like 50 Antifa skulls, and you know. But right now, like with this incident, it's the first time. Like the mayor in Portland, Oregon, um, told the police for months on end, like they basically took over the city, and the mayor's like, no, 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 don't intervene. Like people are getting beat up on a regular basis and swarmed and just disrupting traffic, and the mayor was like, don't do shit. It's a pretty crazy story, man.
Okay.
And I think now, like even the national media, like CNN, that's like a lot more, you know, uh, left leaning, if you will, these days, anyways. Um, are starting to say, or starting to question, is Antifa a good thing? No, the
No,
answer
it's
is
not.
no. No. Let me solve this for you. No. I mean, they did. I saw like some street interview. They were asking all kinds of folks from different nationalities, ethnic groups, sexual backgrounds, and they were like, "No, we don't like them. They've taken over the city. The traffic. We can't. They're beating up everyone, uh, and the mayor won't do shit. So no, it's not good.
Damn Antifas.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So, is there
Yeah,
anything you want to close out with
yeah.
tonight, John?
Besides Antifa, uh, if you're if you're listening, don't be Antifa.
Don't do it.
That's don't be an Antifa.
Be a pro Tifa instead.
Yeah, no. pro pro Tifa would basically mean pro.
Yeah, that's right. Be a pro
fascist.
fascist.
No, 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 no. Don't listen to Bill. Don't listen to Bill.
You might as well go to one extreme to the other. I mean, they're just as bad.
No, 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 no. Let the nuts and
The nuts and
sprinkles
sprinkles
fight it out.
fight it out. Fair enough. Now,
Yes.
speaking of nuts,
You know.
could be a nut.
Yes.
Bob Lazar just came to my attention with this Area 51 documentary. That's correct.
And Joe Rogan podcast.
I mean, I'm not much one for conspiracy theories, whatever, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Because we all know the world is flat.
My dad
right?
can attest to that.
Yeah.
Experiments have been done. Gravity does not exist. All volume and density.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, you don't jokes aside, you don't believe, and uh, you're you'll approach all these. You might approach. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm trying to summarize your position here, but uh, you might have an open mind, but you will come to it with
I
you
would
will have a certain dose of
I would say, yeah,
skepticism.
I would say
You no
in general,
matter,
I'm very skeptical when people make those sort of claims, uh, especially without
yeah, extraordinary,
extraordinary claims.
extraordinary, extra,
Proof,
yes, require
yeah.
extraordinary
Well, he has no
proof.
physical proof, like
Yeah.
in terms of a video or an actual piece of something. Like, he draws pictures of spaceships that have these anti-grav pulse engine things that allow them to go like tunnel through space like a wormhole.
Mhm.
But like I think a lot of it could be just made up inside of his head. Like, lots of people who've tried to escape Earth, a flat Earth, right? Like the guy with the rocket ship sort of thing. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. It's sensationalized, and maybe he's just doing it for a publicity stunt and to, get clicks, clickbait.
Well, he started making these claims
89. Yeah,
in the
1989.
80s,
But I
and
don't know. But like 30, I don't know, 30 years of
yeah, so
it's hard to say, like, because there's people who say he went to Caltech and MIT, but yet there's no physical record or documentation saying he ever was there. So did they expunge his record?
yeah, but what makes me doubt compared to all the other things, and I'm like, with a story like this, I'm like,
I just
I just
don't
don't
know.
know. I just don't know. Yeah, it's the open, like I'm definitely like, because a lot of people will watch this and they will be like, oh yeah, you see, it's proof. It's definite proof that all this stuff exists. It's proof that he might have seen some pretty crazy things, and he said some stuff that were completely unknown to everybody back in the 80s that turned out to be true many years down the line. um be it like element 115, those fingerprint scanners they had in area 51. He described them like basically exactly the way they are, and it was like once it became a dated technology with the Freedom of Information Act, they released like pictures and stuff like that from other sources unrelated to him, and it was like basically how he described them. So that's what makes it an interesting case, is that a lot of his loony predictions turned out to be true. Even names of people that were working in, like, were associated with that program, that there wasn't really any official records, but there was still some paper trails. Um, and there's a lot of paper trails on certain things that, if the government did try to erase like his identity and all that, if you will, there was like some paper trails, like newspaper clippings that talked about this young guy, student from MIT, in a local newspaper, like 3-4 years prior to that happening, right? So if this guy's faking, I mean, this is like one of the most dedicated hoaxers alive. I have no idea what happened. I think like a possibility besides aliens could be maybe the government just wanted like this type of leak, right, to
Yeah,
freak
it's
out the
possible.
Russians.
It'd be definitely just some
You
sort
know what I
of,
mean?
a U.S. Leak, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you're the Russians and you hear, "Whoa, they have anti-gravitational fucking technology in their grasp. Can we really believe this?" And they kind of like create like these muddied waters. So I think it, like most likely this would probably be like a
Yeah,
type of information war. between the Russians and the U.S. I think that's very likely.
Well, you have to remember it was like towards the end of the Cold War, right? So little mid to late 80s. You know, Berlin Wall didn't
Exactly.
1991. So
Yep.
would it be very plausible that's exactly
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly. Yeah.
Who knows?
But who knows, right? So many mysteries. We should have a segment, Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
Every podcast. So what's this week's unsolved mystery, Bill?
Where did I put my socks?
There you go. Why or another why is my Tinder date's vagina smelly right now?
Trick question. That's not a woman.
Yeah, there. But yeah, we should have like some let's break down some conspiracy theories every week.
Debunk flat earth.
Yeah, a little segment. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think we'll bring anything new to the table. I mean, as many flat earth videos there are on the internet, I think there's an equal amount of people debunking.
Yep, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah. But right. It's always fun to talk about.
On that note, do you want to sign off, John?
So, yeah, I think we'll sign off. I got some Stranger Things episode season 3 to go watch right now.
Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland. It's actually pretty good.
I haven't even heard of it.
10 out of 10.
I will check it out. I can't wait to.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
10 out of 10? Oh, wow. So if you compare it, say, to Altered Carbon.
Oh, yeah. I would say, I mean, they're completely different genres, but I would say they're just as equally watchable.
Yeah.
Especially if you like. Yeah, wow. Especially if you like US
Altered
politics.
Carbon. I do. I like. There's so many angles to it, but I definitely will check it out because I really liked Altered Carbon. I know there are different genres, but if it's just as entertaining to me, like that's one of the best shows. I can't wait to see season 2 of that.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, this is John Wynn and Bill Tay signing out. All right. Peace.